Land Rover isn't in such great shape at the moment. Just like many other car companies, it has suffered greatly under the coronavirus pandemic, and its financial standing before the pandemic wasn't so great either. However, it does have a range of new products. We've just seen the launch of the Range Rover Evoque here in Malaysia, and we've also got this, the Land Rover Discovery Sport. The Discovery Sport is Land Rover's best-selling product, so you can see why this is an important car. Is it any good? And more importantly, is it enough for Land Rover to sell more than 1 or 2 units per month? Well, let's go ahead and find out. The new Discovery Sport is priced starting from 370,000 ringgit for the 5-seater model, while the 7-seater model is priced just under the 400,000 ringgit mark. Those prices include a 50% reduction in the sales and service tax. With the full SST rate, those prices are 380,000 ringgit and 410,000 ringgit respectively. At first glance, you may think that this is just an extensive facelift because in some respects, it actually is. I mean, the basic body structure is the same as before. The same roof, you got the same doors, the same fenders, the bonnet, the tailgate. They're all shared with the previous model. There are only a few changes that are unique to this car. But the few changes that are on this car, they are quite nice. So you see on the headlight over here, the previous one had these round lights at the front, which looked really ugly. That's all gone now, so you have this sort of U-shaped graphics over here with sequential indicators, and of course this car has LED headlights as standard. You've also got a new grille and some slimmer air intakes. Over here you've got the usual air curtain, and over here you've got the big air intake in the middle, so it's nice and modern. The wheels are 20 inches. They look a little bit small with this big body, but they still look quite handsome. Back here again, you've got the double U-shaped pattern at the back with the sequential indicators, but otherwise again it's the same as before. All models in Malaysia get the R Dynamic pack, which comes with the body colored body cladding as well as sportier front and rear bumpers and fake tailpipes. I must say that this is quite a good looking car, but there's no escaping the fact that this is an old design now, and next to some of Land Rover's newer models, it does look kinda dated. I should say that the design is helped to no end by this red paint, as well as the black package that is fitted to this car with the black roof, the black wing mirrors, as well as the black badging over here. It may look the same as before, but the new Discovery actually rides on a new platform. This is the premium transverse architecture that's shared with the new Range Rover Evoque, and that means that it is stiffer and it has support for electrified powertrains, although this car doesn't have it. It is slightly shorter and slightly taller than before, but it has the same wheelbase. Inside is where you'll find most of the changes. You've got a brand new dashboard that's very similar in design to the Evoque and the Vela, with a very minimalist horizontal look, and you've got 2 displays over here. You've got a 12.3-inch screen over here for your instrument cluster, as well as a 10-inch touchscreen for your infotainment system. Now the displays are very sharp and very crisp, and I actually like the way that this instrument cluster works. It's very clean, it's very clear, and you can get to all your settings very easily. I also like the way the steering wheel switches work, especially the way that you can just do this to raise and lower the volume. It's much more intuitive than simply pressing up and down. What I don't quite like is the infotainment system. There's nothing wrong with the way it's all laid out. It's very intuitive and easy to use. It's just a little bit slow. You press a button and it takes a little bit of a while for it to come on. It's just not as quick as some of its German rivals. Of course, you can also use Apple CarPlay and Android Auto just like you would in any other car. Unlike in the Evoque and the Vela, you don't have a touchscreen over here. You just have some touch controls over here and some hard buttons. Now that might seem like a downgrade, but I actually prefer this over the touchscreen because there are hard buttons for you to press. So for instance, if you want to change your terrain response system, you can just click the button over here and then you can manipulate the drive modes over here, and then if you want to change the fan speed, you can just click over here. That's the same thing. Down here, you've got a pistol type gear lever to replace the old rotary dial, and you've got your twin cup holders down here. Now you've obviously got your cover here, and you can simply put this over here to store it. You can also take out this entire cup holder section over here to give you access to more storage space if you so want. Other things of note, you've got a wireless charger over here, you've got a panoramic glass roof that doesn't open, and you've got an 11 speaker 380 watt Meridian sound system, which sounds fantastic. The Discovery Sport also comes as standard with a full host of safety features, including adaptive cruise control, autonomous emergency braking, lane keeping assist, blind spot monitoring, and automatic high beam. Not even the base Evoque has that many features, and that car costs 20 to 30,000 ringgit more. Just like the Evoque, the new Discovery Sport comes with the Smart Settings feature, which allows the car to save the preferences of 2 or more drivers, and then whenever you come into the car, it will recognize you and then it will put the settings that you prefer. Now, it sounds great in theory, but in reality, it's not so great. You see, the system uses both the key and your phone to recognize you, and you can't use one key with 2 or more drivers. So let's say your husband or your wife wants to drive the car. They would need to use the spare key to use this function, and that doubles the risk of you losing both keys. And then if your kid wants to drive the car, they would need their own key, and then you would have to go to the dealer and spend God knows how much to make a new key. It's just not that great. Happily, however, you can still use the Smart Settings feature by going into the infotainment system and picking out your settings through here. In the second row, you've got plenty of space, you've got lots of leg room, lots of headroom, even with this panoramic glass roof. You've also got big windows and you've got lots of glass up here, so it really feels quite airy despite this being quite a dark interior. You've also got rear aircon vents, you've got a armrest over here with twin cup holders and a storage compartment for your phone. The only problem is you don't have a USB charging port at the back here. You've got a single 12-volt socket. Guys, it's 2020 already. Come on. You can also recline the seats and you can slide the seat forwards and back. And you can see, even though this isn't the rearmost position, I've got lots of rear legroom. Getting into the third row isn't quite a straightforward affair. The opening is not very big and there's a tall step over here, so you kind of have to struggle out to get in. Back here, there isn't really a lot of space for your legs. I mean, sure, you can move the seats further forward, but even then, your head will be brushing against the headliner, so it's really only for kids or for emergencies. However, you do get rear aircon vents, a blower control down here, as well as twin cup holders down here, so that's good. Reliability hasn't been a strong point for Jaguar or Land Rover in the past. Now, I've spoken to a salesperson and he told me that since the company moved to the new Ingenium petrol engines and the new gearboxes, the warranty claims have gone way down, so that's a good thing. Of course, he is being paid to sell these cars, but the fact that he's saying these things is still quite reassuring. That being said, with my time in this car, I have seen a few electrical glitches, some electronic faults here and there, but they're not too major, and I'm sure if I take this to a dealer, they will sort this out very quickly. Before I talk about the boot, I just want to point something out to you. This car, this 400-something thousand ringgit car, this family car, does not come with a hands-free tailgate. Back here, you've got 963 litres, although that's technically measured up to the roof of the car, which is not very realistic. And if you fold the rear seats down, which you can do by pulling these levers over here, the boot is expanded to 1,794 litres. Putting up the third row seats couldn't be any easier. You'll just pull the strap over here and just raise the rear headrests like so, and you've got your seats back here. Now obviously this car comes with a cargo cover, but with the rear seats up, there isn't any place to store it, so you're going to have to leave it at home. which means you'll forget it, and one day somebody's going to break in and steal your laptop. The Discovery Sport comes as standard with a single petrol engine. It's a 2-litre Ingenium turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, and it makes 200 PS and 320 Newton meters of torque. It is mated to a 9-speed ZF automatic gearbox with drive sent to all 4 wheels, and there's also a driveline disconnect feature that enables the car to go into front-wheel drive mode. Now you would imagine that with the car weighing nearly 2 tons, 200 horsepower doesn't seem like enough. Most of the time it actually is, but at low speeds it really isn't. There isn't that much torque lowered down, anything below 2000 RPM, and there just feels like nobody's home. And that wouldn't be such a problem if the gearbox reacted in an urgent manner, but it doesn't. This gearbox takes ages to kick down. You mash the throttle and it takes a while for the gearbox to just kick down. Oftentimes when you're at a junction or you're going over a speed bump, there is 1 or 2 seconds of the car just doing nothing when you're pushing the throttle, and the car just doesn't want to move anywhere until it kicks down and you get this wave of torque that's just pushing you forward. It's so slow that when I'm going over a bump, I have to accelerate when I'm on top of the bump, and even then it doesn't respond as quickly as I would like. But once you get up to speed, the car responds very quickly, and best of all, it's very quiet and very civilized. It's a very smooth engine, and you don't really hear it when you're going at a cruise. There's a little bit of road and wind noise at speed, but there isn't that much, which is good considering that this car is shaped a little bit like a brick. Make no mistake, this is an effortless cruiser. You get up to silly speeds very quickly, and you have to look down at the speedometer to see really how fast you're going. And while I'm at it, the seats are super comfortable. There's lots of lumbar support, lots of under-thigh support. It's the kind of car that you just feel so relaxed in. You go on a long distance journey and you come out feeling more refreshed. The ride is also very comfortable. I mean, sure, this car is a little bit biased towards off-roading, so the ride is a little bit stiff. You can feel it more over the potholes, and when you're going up to speed on the highway, it sort of fidgets a bit and never quite settles, but it's not too bad. It really isn't, and it just feels very, very smooth and refined and very easy to drive along. The visibility, at least forward visibility, is very good. You sit very high up, so you get a good view of the road ahead, and there's a very low window sill over here, so you get a good view of the sides as well. However, the rear window is quite small, so you're not going to be seeing much out the back, and unlike the Evoque, this car does not come with a digital rear view camera so that you can see what's behind you. Of course, this car does come with a 360-degree camera, so parking maneuvers are a little bit easier. And it also comes with a clear sight ground view system that lets you see through the bonnet onto the ground so that you can place the car exactly where you want, and you can avoid curbing those precious alloys. As you can imagine, this is a very tall and very heavy car, so you kind of have to be very cautious when going around corners. Also, the controls are a little bit on the heavy side. I mean, even the throttle pedal is quite stiff, and that actively discourages you from driving very quickly. But once you actually go around the corner, it's not too bad. There is quite a bit of body roll, and there isn't that much grip coming from these all-season tires. However, it still hangs on quite well. The steering is quite accurate, and there's a bit of feel coming through the rim. And because it's four-wheel drive, the chassis is quite neutral. So in that sense, it's actually quite capable in the corners. It's just not an especially fun one. Speaking of fun, I did take this car off-roading, some light off-roading, nothing too fancy, nothing too extreme or challenging for this car. And what do you know, this car absolutely just walked all over it. These tires gave lots of grip in mud and grass, and there's a high level of ground clearance, so you don't have to worry about scraping the underside or anything like that. This car also comes with a weight sensing function, so there are ultrasonic sensors in the door mirrors, and these detect the water level that you're crossing into, and you can see the water level in the infotainment system over here, so you don't have to worry about accidentally waterlogging your engine, for example. In any case, this car has a maximum water wading depth of up to 600 millimeters, so it can happily go through quite a deep flash floods, so you don't have to be so worried. And we're so used to fast driving and hardcore cars that will get you around the track in so and so seconds, and this just lets you step back a little bit. Just sit back and relax and just enjoy the drive. It's just so nice. So there you have it, the brand new Land Rover Discovery Sport. I actually quite like this car. It's a very nice car to drive, and I think it actually represents quite good value for money. Yes, it's not cheap and it is not very powerful, but it is very well equipped, and there aren't a lot of 7-seaters in this price range. So if you have a large family and you want something a little bit different, I think this may be quite a compelling option for you.